Hi, I'm Rosaline Zisch, and I'm happy to welcome you today to our San Jose Santa Clara League of Women Voters event on water. Remember that the League is a non-profit, nonpartisan educational organization, and that we believe in active and informed participation in government. My guest today is Rita Norton. She's a member of the League, and she actually has a wonderful history in environment, being the first person that the city of San Jose hired to handle environment issues. She today is a water consultant in efficiency and sustainability. She also serves on the advisory committee of the Santa Clara Valley Water District. And we're so happy to have you with us.
I'm so pleased to be here.
This topic is both complicated and extremely important, and sure fits right in with what the League tries to do in terms of educating people so we know when and how to speak out. This has to do with the San Jose Water Company's hike raise proposal of over 44%. The San Jose company itself has quite an interesting history, I think, starting way back in 1866. And of course it was formed under California law, and then in 1985 it became a wholly private industry or commodity to serve about 1 million people, or 138 square miles, I believe is correct.
And it's an investor-owned utility.
Yes, yes, and I think that's important to know, that it is a profit-making utility company. Right. It serves more than just San Jose, though, and I personally thought that was interesting and was surprised to find that out, Rita.
Well, it also serves the West Valley, so that is Los Gatos, Saratoga, Cupertino, Campbell, and most all of San Jose. So it actually has a very wide service area.
Yeah, at Cupertino too?
Cupertino as well.
Right, right. And
Monte Sereno.
Oh, Monte Sereno as well. Right. Okay. So it really reaches out there to many, many areas. I also thought it was interesting in looking this topic up about where we actually get our water. Because we were an agricultural valley for so many years and had our wonderful water source that was our own aqua filters and wells and groundwater. But today only 35% comes from that. And then we're acquiring our other water through purchase.
Through purchase. Well, the Santa Clara Valley Water District is the wholesale water supplier.
Okay.
And they are responsible for groundwater in a great part of Santa Clara Valley, which is a very important resource, as well as the imported water. We get water from the Bay Delta, both from the federal project and the state project. And those are all very important water sources to the sustainability of our valley.
Right, right. The 15%, I believe, just comes from our watershed, which is the Santa Cruz Mountains. And I think at one time we got a lot more water from that source than we do now. Yeah. So water comes from different places, and not just one. The San Jose Water District reports to or is overseen by a particular group. And that group is called the California Public Utilities Commission.
Right, the California Public Utilities Commission is responsible for rate making in all of the investor-owned utilities in the state. Oh. They have other responsibilities as well that are kind of interesting and a part of California law and history. But for this purpose, we're looking at the investor-owned utilities, and the California Public Utilities Commission is a complex organization with lots of experts. It has administrative law judges, and it has commissioners who are appointed by the governor. And they have rules about how you testify in front of them and how the calendar goes forward. And so the decision on when rates are approved to be increased happen through the statewide agency. And sometimes the local community is not that knowledgeable how the statewide agency works. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very glad that the League of Women Voters, as well as the Sierra Club, have gotten involved in this rate case, because unless we bring the local population into understanding of how both the process works, they're not going to be able to be engaged in the decision making.
Right. The PUC or the CPUC, right. All these initials can be very, very confusing for anyone, actually.
Exactly.
It actually was organized originally to regulate railroads, which I think is kind of a fun idea. And of course has moved into so many other things, as you were mentioning before, and all different kinds of utilities. In fact, electrical, PG&E, for instance, gas utilities, telecommunications, household movers, which I think is kind of a funny thing. Limo services, which I also think is a kind of a different kind of thing to be in charge of. But at any rate, their actual title came in 1945, but it's been around a long, long time.
A lot of California history there.
Yes, right. And so it meets in San Francisco.
Right, its headquarters is in San Francisco, and that's where all the decisions are made, and that's where the staff are. They do have a Southern California office just to make sure that Southern California has access to.
And there's 5 commissions.
5
commissioners.
Right.
And they're appointed by?
They're all appointed by the governor.
And with what, a Senate approval or something like that, probably?
I'm not really sure what the approval process is.
Yeah,
I think probably
pretty standard, kind of thing. And so they have regular meetings as well?
Yes, they have regular meetings, and but things go according to a proceeding. And so once a case is started under the rules and regulations, there is, it's assigned to both one of the commissioners who becomes the lead on it, as well as what's called an administrative law judge. And that is a civil servant who knows how to administer under law, because all of the CPUC is governed through these regulations, and they have to be very familiar with them. So when a rate case is initiated, it is then governed under all of these rules, and staff at the CPUC in various divisions studies the rate case, and then the entity that is proposing it has a whole staff of experts as well, and including their attorneys, lots of attorneys involved in arguing both sides. So in this particular case, if I could go into that, this is called a general rate case, and the San Jose Water Company prepared and submitted their documents way back in January of this year.
That's quite a long time ago.
Quite a long time ago. So it was already very well developed by the San Jose Water Company. And
is that the 132-page document you have?
One of my many huge documents.
Yes.
This is the document.
Just to give
a sense.
Our viewers an opportunity to see government in action.
Government in action. Actually, I have 2 documents here. One is the response document, and one is the initial documents. And together, this huge document would require careful reading to even begin to get into it. Yes. You have to.
If you want to have a good night's sleep,
Right. So because it is complex, and there are things that have to do with the pipes and the infrastructure, which of course is all very, very important, experts do have to be involved in the analysis of it. So when I'm speaking here today, and the meeting that we'll be talking about that we'll be holding here in San Jose, I don't present myself as a technical expert in the things that a water engineer would need to know in order to evaluate this, but I do represent myself as an expert in how the public can be engaged in understanding the process and to get the information they need in order to let their input be heard.
Sure. Because we don't have to read the 132 pages in order to understand where our interests lie.
That's right. We do, though, need presentations on it that give us executive summaries and analysis, because otherwise we really don't have the information we need.
You're right, absolutely. So it works, I think we understand a little bit how it works, and that they have the authority over what people pay for their, and this proposal right now that's out there that was proposed in January.
So let me just maybe shed some light on that. What makes this one so remarkable is that they're asking for 44% increase over 3 years. And
is that the highest that they've ever asked that you know of?
That I know of.
Yes.
And again, I don't have full knowledge of every case that's coming in. It's a surprisingly high amount.
Yes.
And it's over only 3 years, so that there may be merits to the needs line by line in this that do need scrutiny, but over 3 years is a very big surprise, and for many ratepayers that would be a shock to their budget.
Absolutely.
The big other point.
Pause just for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Because we want to look at this a little farther. So the proposal that we're talking about in this, with the 44% over 3 years, the length of time that would raise is exceptional.
From my professional opinion, it is beyond what is called for and is exceptional. And what I really, one of the reasons why I have pursued this to the degree I have is that the Division of Ratepayer Advocates, which is paid staff at the California Public Utilities Commission, and their job is by charter to look out for the welfare of ratepayers. They have studied this in great detail with engineers on their staff, with economists on their staff, looking at it compared to other rate cases throughout the history, recent history, and they find only need for about 4% increase over the same 3 years. This is very unusual. In fact, according to the Division of Ratepayer Advocates, they have not encountered a case like this. Normally, when there is a difference, they can meet outside of chambers
and just
work out the details and come back in with a compromise so that it doesn't have to be debated publicly. And in this case, they have not been able to do that. So it stands way outside the normal situation. Because there is such a variance in between what the two sides say, it really warrants more attention, especially here in San Jose. And part of the California Public Utilities Commission responsibility is to have a public advisor and to have public meetings so that there's an opportunity for the public to understand the rate case before them. And the only meeting that we've had in San Jose on this occurred last May, which was before the Division of Ratepayer Advocates report came out. So there really wasn't that much information to go on at that point. It was also held at the San Jose Athletic Club, which was a surprise to almost everybody. We would prefer to see meetings of this type be held in
a public setting.
Yes. It was also very poorly attended. And in the past meetings like this, in fact, in 2006, when San Jose Water once before was having a rate case, they were poorly attended. And from that, the conclusion was made that San Jose didn't need more public outreach. That was actually an official opinion. And I think it's really important that we have meetings down here that are well attended so that the public advisor for the California Public Utilities is aware that the community down here needs to participate in these meetings.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's exceedingly important. And how people would even know about that first meeting last May.
I think it was in maybe the utility bill. It wasn't covered in a way that
would encourage people to attend.
Also, the fact that it was at the athletic club. I think if it had been at a public venue, it may have done better.
Well, for one thing, parking is very difficult down there, not to mention other
Even
things.
the CPUC staff was surprised at the location.
And that would discourage, I think, people in attending. The one we're going to have, the town hall meeting we're going to have, is going to be at City Hall.
We're very pleased. The League of Women Voters was the first to really become engaged on this, along with the Sierra Club. The Sierra Club is interested in this issue because we want to see as much, and I say we because I'm also a member of the Sierra Club, we want to see as much water conservation as possible, and we want it to be cost effective. We need a program that can be shown that it's worked. And we also need rates that encourage the ratepayers, the water users, to conserve water and not penalize them if they do conserve water.
Right.
So with that in mind, the League of Women Voters and the Sierra Club joined together to ask the City of San Jose to offer the City Hall for a meeting, and the mayor and many city council members have now strongly endorsed holding this meeting and have allowed the meeting to take place in city council chambers.
Right.
So we're really thrilled about that.
Right, absolutely. And hopefully this will help to get the word out, as well as other website and general information. So we could have a representative group there.
That's our intention. Now, by having this meeting, we're having this meeting on December 6th.
Right, right.
And by that time, we foresee, we meaning people who are watchers of how the CPUC operates, are expecting that there could be a draft decision out by then.
Right, and I think we need to explain to people what that would mean.
Okay.
Right.
So a draft decision is the first cut at what a recommendation is going to be. So by the time we have this meeting, we expect that draft decision to be out, and we will then really have a very good town hall, because we'll be able to respond to that draft decision. It'll either be siding more with the San Jose Water Company proposal, or it'll be siding with the Department of Ratepayer Advocates proposal. It'll be taking a position in the middle. We'll have a real solid thing to look at.
Right.
And so that really will be the topic for the meeting.
Right, and that will be understandable as well. Because I had referred to the length of the document and that sort of thing, which is kind of puts people off. But this will be understandable.
This will be understandable. Yes. Also, because of the timing on this, the expectation is that after this meeting, comments will be able to be filed. People could write their own letters. The city could engage by writing a letter either as individual council members, or the administration itself could become engaged. Other organizations could be offering their comments on this into the documents that are reviewed.
Right.
And so before a final decision is made, it will be very important to get this input, because as of this point, I find this really unusual. There has been absolutely no written comments that I have seen in the case coming from public agencies or organized groups in the South Bay.
And that would be something you would normally think would happen.
I would think, for such a big rate case, for so many people, for such an important precedent, that is really important to show our civic engagement on this rate case.
Right, right.
Then after that takes place, there'll be a period of time for back and forth arguments on this proposed decision. And the final decision, ideally San Jose Water Company would have liked a final decision by January 1st, 2013. So that's right around the corner.
Yes.
And under one scenario, this whole thing could really get accelerated. There wouldn't even be input time with our public input. I highly doubt that. That is a very unlikely scenario. It's a possible one. So even right now, people can be communicating to the California PUC Commission, to the public advisor, saying that they would be very disappointed if this case was closed before our the 30-day opportunity.
Okay, so Rita, this is an action that can take place even before
today,
our town hall meeting.
Yes, people could be doing this right now. They could be communicating to the public advisor at the California Public Utilities Commission that the general rate case for San Jose Water Company should not be accelerated, that the due process should allow for comments to come forward, including comments that would come out of our town hall in San Jose.
Right, right. And their office is located in San Francisco.
They can go do this online. Online,
that's even better. So
I mean, a written letter always helps. The way the Public Utilities Commission has organized itself right now is that they want everything to go in through the Office of the Public Advisor. It doesn't hurt to do a CC on your letter to the public advisor that includes the president of the CPUC and names of the other commissioners. In it, specifically, Commissioner Sandoval is the
Sandoval
is the assigned commissioner
For this?
For this decision.
Okay.
So when the draft decision comes forward, it will come out of her office before it's considered by the whole commission.
So Sandoval is the key person.
Is the presiding commissioner for this rate case.
And
the, not that this is that important, but the administrative law judge is Law Judge Wilson. And you know, bringing things to her attention as well should be recognized as a right that citizens have. Right.
So shooting off an email at this time would be most appropriate and a good way to support this consideration.
Right. That the process should allow for San Jose community to have had a public hearing that takes place at this time in the decision making and to take account of the views of citizens and organized groups in the South Bay. So
if they simply clicked on to PUC.
Actually, they can find it there.
And go for the advisor.
Right, look for public advisor, and that will pop up, public advisor. It's actually even on their homepage.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty easy to find.
Very good. Okay, thank you so much. This is all just marvelous information for us today. And the one thing that I wanted to mention to you is I really think that if people take a look at their San Jose water statement that they get in the mail and proceed to try to understand it, they'll come up with some more questions, I think, for this kind of a town hall meeting. What we're paying for in terms of water, what we're paying for service, and it's all on there, but it's extremely lengthy and just a lot of information.
I should mention that some environmentalists, and I consider myself an environmentalist, say that we're not paying enough for water, that the real value of water we should be paying more for it because that is such a valuable resource. And the point of this rate case is not to say we should not at some point be paying more for water. The question here is, when we pay for this revenue goes into different allocations. Some of it will be for infrastructure maintenance. Some of it will be fixing up some of the watershed where San Jose Water Company gets their water up in the Saratoga Hills. You know, all of those things do need to be paid. The question is how much of it should be paid and at what time, and how much of this total water bill, 44% increase, should go towards water conservation. What kinds of programs are we paying for? Are those programs working? And another question that the Sierra Club is raising is who should be running these programs? I mean, we really need very strong water conservation programs. And the question has been raised, is it in the best interests of the community to have an investor-owned water utility who makes the profit selling water also be running the water conservation programs to use less water?
Yes.
And now in California, we've debated this a lot. The CPUC has come up with some very complicated solutions to this that could be debated in great length. But at least at this time, we as the ratepayers in San Jose should know how much of this is going towards water conservation, this 44% rate increase. How well have the past programs worked?
Yes.
And what kind of programs are they designing for the future? Now, another part of this is also going towards hookups for the recycled water.
Ah, yes, and that's kind of controversial.
Well, I think water recycling is an important part of our future.
Definitely.
It must be done. But what we need to look at in this rate case is how much of the residential customer is paying out of this 44% rate increase that will go to the retrofits for big industrial and commercial customers. And here we get into a case of customer class equity. How much does the residential ratepayer need to pay? How much does the fixed income senior citizen homeowner need to pay that pays for a retrofit for a big high-tech industry to have at very low or subsidized cost their retrofit to get recycled water? These issues need to be put on the table.
They do, indeed. And I look forward to bringing forth many of these issues. Our town hall meeting which we're excited about sponsoring, and as Rita has told you, will be at our San Jose City Hall on Thursday, December 6th, and from 6 to 8:30.
We'll have a moderator who is a respected environmentalist.
Oh, 7 to 8:30. Oh,
I'm sorry.
interesting. I thought it was 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. It is 7 to 8:30.
7 to 8:30.
We hope that's more convenient for people.
Right. Well, get there early for a good seat.
Yes.
Yes. There you go.
Good seat.
After 6 o'clock, it's parking's free, so that's something to look forward to in downtown San Jose.
We expect a good turnout, so I do urge people to get there early, and we probably will get some good coverage, both in the media, the print media, and electronic media. So it should be a good meeting.
And we thank you, Rita, for being with us today. And thank you for watching.